hope you find a friend today. The love you want is a click away. Make a wish, but don't hesitate no more. Connect with ones and value time. Spend your life never asking why. Happiness finds everyone but you. It's time to find.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Connection Circle, and I'm Sparks, and this is
someone kind,
and we're just here to discuss one of our favorite topics, which is
cultivating trust, especially in connections.
And cultivating trust, I think, like that spans every relationship, right? So it doesn't matter if it's, you're just starting to date or you're in a relationship already. It could be, a relationship with your mom, your dad, your brother, whoever. So
in business relationships,
yes.
Online, it could be social media, it could be somebody that you come into contact with that has maybe the same beliefs as you, or the same thought processes, the same hobbies, same passions, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so important. I think if you ask people what their number one relationship destroyer is the broken trust.
Absolutely. I could
Yeah.
not agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, without trust, what do you have? Because
The basis of all relationships is that trust. And how do we get to that point of trust, and what makes us trust other people or trust ourselves in certain situations or connections?
good, valid point, Alyssa. I like that. Yeah, you have to be able to trust yourself. And that goes way deeper than we'll probably get into today. Maybe another, topic about trusting yourself and your intuitive self, right? And tuning into that. So I have some notes here. If I'm looking down, I just wanted to make sure that we touched on every topic, because this is kind of a serious topic and it's important. So we're planting the seeds of trust, cultivating connections that blossom. That's really the message, right?
And it's so beautiful. It just rolls off the tongue when you say it like that.
Yeah.
We're blossoming up to this idea of cultivating that trust and what that really means within ourselves and with our relationships with other people.
Yes. And I think it's important to get different perspectives too, because let's face it, you and I as women, and women of different ages and experiences, we would have different perspectives, but close in thought. But I think it would be really good to get a male perspective on what it means to build trust. What is trust in a relationship? So I think it would be really fun to invite one of our Connection Circle friends into this webinar today. And we're going to invite Todd into the Connection Circle today, into our discussion.
Let's bring him on.
Let's bring him. Okay.
All the questions. Hi, Todd. How are you?
Thanks, Todd, for joining us today.
Not a problem. I'm happy to be here.
It's good to have you on.
So we sent you an email to prep you a little bit, but we have a couple of surprise questions because we'd like for it to be authentic and natural. Coming from the male's perspective, we're doing this topic on cultivating trust. and what that looks like when you're first dating or maybe in a relationship with someone. And I don't know, we had a few questions that we were kicking around. What do you think, Alyssa? What should we throw at Todd?
I have some written down, so I apologize for looking down. I was pulling at my questions that I
Okay, let's do it.
One of the questions that I would love to get the male perspective on is, what is something that you value in somebody that you're getting to know, as far as what they're noticing or acknowledging or asking?
I guess for me, the most important thing that I would initially kind of be like dialed into is just the genuineness of a person. It's important to me. I think that with a lot of dating apps out there, that there's so much value that's put on, for lack of a better term, like the superficial. And again, that's the beauty of this dating site, is that through you guys' coaching and stuff like that, you guys can just demographically. I mean, again, I'm an older guy, so for me, someone who's genuine is probably the most important thing to me on initial encounters.
I love that answer.
Sure.
That was straight from the heart, like, and I felt that one. And I, as a
Yeah.
woman, appreciate that in a man. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
Do you have another question, Lynn?
One would be, let's take it to the dating realm. And you're on a dating site, you connect with someone, and you ask them out on a date, a coffee date, let's say, and then you meet that person and you discover that they have basically lied to you about their age, let's just say. Okay. So we're playing pretend right now, but I don't know if that's ever happened to you. But what would your response be if, say, they said they were 40, but you show up and they're 50?
Well, again, for me, just in my age category, I don't know why, but that's, I don't think, uncommon for a lot of I'll say more mature women, vice older. But it's one of those things where it's not a huge deal for me. I guess that initially, if I'm seeing them, and kind of creating like an attraction to them based on what I see, and if that is who they are, for somebody to embellish their age, I don't know, a decade's a lot, but I think, all in all, it's one of those things where I just get it, with women that are in my, dating age category, that they're going to maybe embellish their age. I don't know why. I mean, I would encourage to anybody who's listening to this, again, as I mentioned before from the first question, just to be genuine, to be honest, and inevitably, you're gonna get with the right people. And in doing so, you're not going to have to face maybe the difficulty of explaining something that maybe comes up at that initial coffee date or later on down the line. So I just think honesty, being genuine, it's just the best scenario through and through.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great. That's awesome. And that's really what we're talking about today, right? Cultivating trust. And because you don't want to start a relationship with, some untruths, let's say, and then whether that's age or whatever it might be, right? Career, whatever it is.
Profile picture. Like, I know I personally have come across quite a few profiles that there's a picture of them, and it turns out it was a picture from like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Still
I know.
not them now. People need
Yeah.
to, truly be authentic. And that is
Mhm.
the best ways to cultivate trust.
Yes, and absolutely, and I think Todd spoke to that eloquently in that it does start with being authentic and genuine, and just be yourself. And Todd, thank you so much for sharing your answers. We really appreciate you coming on board today, taking some time with us here in the Connection Circle. And we want to bring you back on in the near future, and we'll just throw some stuff at you again because you were awesome today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Not a
Todd.
problem. I appreciate you guys having me today. And I just wanted to say thank you for just kind of taking a new look at dating apps and making them, real, genuine, and through your coaching services, just being able to just help people, of all ages. And so thank you guys. Have a good day. Thank you.
See you soon. What beautiful responses, right, from Todd, and a male's perspective. How awesome is that? And I think that that's coming from someone that knows themselves, and is coming from a place of trusting themselves, like you brought up earlier. So important to this entire equation of cultivating trust. And, like moving on from there, and we need to bring Todd back on because I think he had some beautiful answers. So that was awesome and super fun. We have some other guests coming up soon, and that'll be really fun too. But like you, Alyssa, today I made some notes, and I think maybe discussing some of the problems and challenges that come up for people when it's important to cultivate that trust in relationship. Let's pick a topic, and I think I know which one we'll probably talk about, but like past trauma can be a challenge in cultivating trust. Fear of being vulnerable, that's hard for some people. You're afraid to be vulnerable with especially new people. Communication barriers, maybe misunderstanding someone. I know I give a lot of weird facial expressions to people. We were just talking about that. People are like, wait, what do you mean by, because your facial expressions are kind of weird, but
Not matching what you're trying to convey.
I don't know. Is there a psychological term for that? You think I would know that, right?
Right? Doesn't always mean anything, because the way that you perceive somebody's look, though, doesn't always mean what your brain goes to.
Yes, exactly. So does it mean that it's something that you have to, receive in a negative way, right? So deception and betrayal, I mean, that goes without saying. Long distance relationships, those are so hard, especially, if you're using a dating app or you're in the connection circle and you're meeting people from all over, right? In other countries, within the US, maybe in another state. So that's certainly a topic that, I mean, we could go into for sure in the near future. Social and cultural factors. And then, of course, insecurities, whether it's with the other person or within you, external influences, and of course, last but not least, online dating in a digital age. How difficult is it to cultivate trust? It's challenging.
It is. And there's a lot of different factors that play into that, whether it be like the industry secrets and like how they run the show behind with like fake profiles and the algorithms. Going to a question that you asked Todd about. Are they being their authentic selves? Not necessarily a fake profile, but the information that they're putting out on themselves.
Yeah.
And that leads into something that I've had on my heart to talk about when it comes to cultivating trust. And it really goes along with that being authentic, showing up as your authentic self. It's almost like the things that we believe and the things that we do and the things that we are, like a badge that we wear. that the world sees. And we typically gravitate towards people that have the same badges, if you will, right?
Yes.
So we were companies, like you would know the company from the logo, from the look, from the product, whatever it is. And who we are as people, we also have those attributes to us that gravitate other people to us, right?
Yes.
And if we're not showing up as our authentic selves, if we're not saying this is who we are, we're going to attract people that maybe we don't necessarily want to,
Yes.
or we're going to attract these people that think that we're one thing. And then as they start to get to know us, we're not that at all. That's not what
Yeah.
we're about. And then that breaks the trust, right? Because we showed
That's,
up one thing that we really weren't. Um,
yes.
it begs that question, like, would you go to your friends and family and say, how do you want me to dress? How do you want me to address you? How can I dress or talk to you to make you like me better? Would you do that?
Right. I love that. That is awesome. That's such a great analogy and so true. We see this so often in a digital world, right? And not just dating, dating apps, but on social media. And we're kind of wearing those masks, those badges, and then we attract not so authentic, genuine, honest people, because that's what we're really putting out in the universe. That's the energy we're putting out there. We're not being authentic ourselves. So, how do we strip that away and just show up as the best version of ourselves? How do we do that? And I think that, it starts with a personal journey of understanding self and wanting to show up as your authentic self and really loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, how can anyone else love you?
I completely agree. And you have to be able to love yourself to love others, right? And I think a big part that plays in that too is truly caring for and loving others as well.
Mhm.
Loving ourselves and being able to be truly authentic, like doing things and caring for other people without the expectation of a return.
I just had this conversation with someone. I love it that you said that. I love that because and again, I mean, when we do these webinars, it's like we're giving our personal perspectives and opinions, right? We're not always right, wrong. It's just our perspectives. I just had this conversation and it was basically there's givers and takers, right? And sometimes you have takers that give because they want to take.
Exactly.
So that speaks to your kind of expectations, having expectations of others. How do you determine someone is a taker and they're not going to be a giver, right? And this is like all these, these masks that people wear. Those masks, I promise you, they will melt off eventually. They,
All us.
they fall.
And if
It's
you notice, it starts happening when real connection starts happening. Things get real.
yes,
They
get
can't hold up
yes.
whatever that agreement was for the connection.
Yes, and this might sound funny, but a great test if you're dating someone for a little bit and you feel like, I'm curious how they're going to respond to something like serious, right? Like a serious situation. Go on a weekend trip. I mean, you
Oh, you? Yeah.
go on a road trip. See how they respond when you get a flat tire or something like.
Yeah.
That
There
mask
a
is
little
gonna.
bit too, don't be afraid to test a little bit. If you're having doubts or questions, like it's okay to test it out a little bit
Yes,
because you have to know for yourself. And that's how we cultivate the trust, right?
yes.
It's little tiny, I don't know a better word for test for that, but it's almost like we're testing people along the way to see if they're truly authentic, that if we can trust them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's hard for people to put in just full trust into people like we do other things. Like when I came and sat down on this chair today, I didn't like test it out and see if it was going to break on me. I just sat down and I trusted that it wasn't going to break on me. But when you're talking about relationships and with people, that goes to a really deep emotional level. And it's a series of choices, a series of over time and experiences to be able to trust somebody. We don't have that just immediate, like, we trust everybody. And a lot of that comes from some of the other things on that list, like past
Yes.
traumas, right?
Traumas, not able to be vulnerable, all of those things. And that comes into play and goes back to doing the work yourself, working on self. Right. And so this is what we coach a lot on in our relationship coaching is really self, evolution, self growth, self awareness. That's what we teach. We're not teaching you how to go find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. We're teaching you how to show up as the best version of self. Super important, very key. Thank you for sharing that, Alyssa. And
We just got to show everybody how we really do come full circle, how it
yes,
starts with the self. We started there and we kind of went around the loop of making these connections and things that can hold us back. And it all comes back to the self.
yeah,
And I believe
absolutely.
that's what coaching is about. And that's what your self journey, self discovery, exploration, and loving yourself is really about. Everything will come full circle back to that happens in your
Love
life,
that.
you are and what you do. And community and connection is necessary. It's an innate goal for survival.
Yes. Agreed. I love that also because that's what we're about is connection and building trust and rapport and camaraderie and all of those things within the connection circle. And the beauty of it is that we do cultivate that trust within the connection circle. We're in there, we're communicating with people. We have others within the connect circle in there helping others navigate things. We're coaching people. And in order to become a member of the connection circle, we vet people, right? So they have to answer a bunch of questions. We're looking for red flags through the questionnaire process. We are running them through a identification verification, and then we are meeting with these people to ensure that every one of our members are on a platform that is safe and they can feel like they can be vulnerable and show up, not some like armor on. They get to be in there and be their authentic selves. We want to continue this conversation. We're going to have some deeper conversations about cultivating trust. We're hoping to see you there.
Come join us in the connection circle. It's a whole
Yeah.
lot of fun. It's just beautiful watching people make authentic connections and have that self growth and truly be able to care about other people through loving themselves. And I am so excited to see so many more members be able to do
It's
that.
time
Love it.
to find quality in life, beauty within others. I promise that you'll find someone kind, an energy or feeling that you get, a connection you won't forget. Oh.